Welcome back. It is time we learn in details what is information gathering and how can we perform it. We already know that information gathering is the first step in penetration testing, and it is an act of gathering data about our target. It can be any type of data that we might find useful for the future attack, and if you remember, there are two types of information gathering. We got active information gathering and passive information gathering. And we talked briefly about them, but now it is time to fully explain what both of them are. So let's start with active information gathering. In active information gathering, we use our Kali Linux machine and we try to get as much data or as much information about our target while interacting with them. It could be a target website that we need to test, so we need to find as many things about it as we can. Or it could also be a network that we're testing, or perhaps an entire company. The main point is that with active information gathering, we directly get that data from the target. This could mean directly exchanging packets with the target by visiting and enumerating their website, or it could also mean talking to an employee that works there. We could maybe call them over mobile phone to try to get them to tell us something important, but this part is also considered social engineering. Nonetheless, any action where you exchange something with the target is active information gathering. This can be legal to an extent. If you start performing some advanced scans or OS fingerprinting on the target, you most likely won't get in trouble, but you should still not do it without permission. And it is important to mention that usually active information gathering will provide us with much more important data than passive information gathering, since we are directly interacting with the target. On the other hand, we got passive information gathering. And it is similar, we got our Kali Linux machine and our target. But we also have an intermediate system, or what I like to call a middle source. And what this middle source is, well, basically it could be anything. From a search engine to a website, it could also be a person, but what matters is that information we get is going through that middle source. For example, if we want to find out something about a certain target and we Google that target to find some pages that contain information about it, this is considered passive information gathering. Okay, good, but what are the goals of this? What exactly are we searching for? Which information could be of value to us? Usually, the first thing we search to identify a target is their IP address, or IP addresses if the target has multiple addresses that belong to them. This could be, for example, a company that has servers and buildings all around the world. And if we were to test this company, we would also be interested in their employees too. For example, we would want to gather their emails, which could be useful for a future attack to gain access to that company, or we could possibly want to gather their phone numbers, which could also be useful. But most importantly, and what we're mainly interested in, are technologies that the target has. If it was a company, we would want to know how many networks they have, what softwares are running on their machines, what operating systems they have. If it was a website, we would also want to know how that website was built, which programming languages it has. Does it have JavaScript or PHP, for example? Just one software on one machine that is outdated or that has a known vulnerability that could be exploited is our way in. So, now that we know what we're looking for during this first step, it is time we see what tools and programs can we use to find out as much information as possible about our target. Let's do it. Since this is our first video in information gathering, we're going to start off with something easy. Let us see how we can identify our target and get its IP address. We're going to check how we can do this both actively and passively. let's do it with active information gathering first. So this means we're going to interact with our target. So just go on Google and pick a website that you want to use for this. It can be any website that you want, and you can also use the ones that I will show in this video. First, open up your terminal. And what we're going to do, for the first test, I'm going to use this website. This is just some university page that I picked, and what we can do to get its IP address is to ping it. Most of you will already be familiar with ping tool, since it is installed by default on any operating system. By pinging this website or any other website, we're sending something called ICMP packets to that website, and if we get responses back, that means that website is up and running. But what we also get besides that response is the IP address. So let's try it out. I will leave this link right here, and I will just add at the beginning ping space and then hit enter. And it seems that we're not getting any responses back, but what we did get is an IP address. Here it is. And we're not getting responses back from this site because it is probably blocking ping probes, which some websites often do. Let us try another site to see how it looks once we get responses back. So to stop this, you can simply just press Ctrl+C, and it will tell us 32 packets transmitted and 100% packet loss. Now this doesn't mean that this website is offline, since if we visited this link right here or this IP address, we would open a page to that website. But just in case, let us see how it looks like once we get the response back from the ping command. If I try to ping a big website, for example like Facebook, so let's type ping facebook.com. Here we get an IP address of Facebook, and we can Ctrl+C since we can notice that we are getting packets back, which means Facebook is up and running and also responding to our ICMP packets. Just to note, this IP address right here is just one of the IP addresses that Facebook uses. So for you, once you ping it, you will probably get a different result. Okay, what we saw right here is an example of active information gathering to get the IP address, since we directly send packets to these websites. Another tool you can use to get IP from a website is called Lookup. So if I go down here and type Lookup and then the name of the website, which in our case, let's try with the first one, which is this one. And once again, you can test any website you want with this. It doesn't matter. If I press enter, it will give me this response, which says server and address right here. But this is not the IP address of this website. This is just my router, and where the result or where the IP address of this website is down here. Here it is. If we compare this one and we go back to the ping command, you will notice the IP address is the same. So we got the same result, which is good. Let's try the same with Facebook, so just type right here lookup facebook.com. And we also get the IP address of Facebook. Now, if you wanted to do this passively, you would search for this information, such as IP address, over some other website. Let us see how we can do that. First of all, we want to open our Firefox, and to do that, just click on this Cal Linux icon in the top left corner and type Firefox. You should see Firefox ECR, click on it, and what we're going to look for is a website that provides us with IP address of a different website. And since I don't know any website that does that, I will simply just go right here in the search bar and type what is an IP address of this website. If I press enter, it should probably give me a few results of different websites that will do exactly what we want, which is get the IP address of another website. And let's go with this one, IP checker, which is ipinfo.info. If I click on it, and down here we see something that says IP domain checker. We need to specify the IP address, the domain, or URL. And if we type the domain name of that first website, so if I type the same domain name and click right here on check. Okay, so some security check. Select all traffic lights. Let's select all traffic lights that we see. And here is the result. And you will notice that right here we get even more information than we asked for. For example, here is the IP address of this website. We also get from which country it is, as it says right here in the brackets. And we also get its geolocation, which says even the city. We can also check it out on Google Maps if we wanted to. Down here we get even more information such as reverse DNS. Here we get information about registration date, modification date, expiration date. Down here we get some of the DNS servers, and here we get its physical address. So this is the exact location to where this server is located. Now this is just the same result, I believe. Down here we also get some email addresses, as we can notice right here. All of this could be useful for us depending on which type of attack we would plan. Now, of course, we're not going to be attacking this website since we do not have permission, but we're simply just gathering information to see what can we retrieve from the internet about this website. And for now on, we're getting a bunch of information about it. Now, similar response that we got right here, we can get using a tool called Whois. Whois not only gives us an IP address of the specified domain, but it also gives us a bunch of other information about that domain. It is already installed in Kali Linux, so let's test it out. If I close this page and type in my terminal Whois, the same domain name, press enter, I will pretty much get the same information that I saw previously on that website. As we can see right here, we get those DNS servers, the registration date, modification date, expiration date. We get the physical address and some other things such as ID number, tax ID, which is not really of interest to us. And let us also test this tool on Facebook, since different websites might give different information. For example, if I do the same on Facebook, since it being a much bigger site, it will probably give us much more information as well. So let's type it, Whois, facebook.com. Press enter. Let me just enlarge the terminal so we can see everything clearly. And if I scroll all the way up, we get some name servers, text street, city, state, province, postal code. We also get some phone numbers right here. Here are some of the email addresses for the tech email. So we get another email address right here and even more phone numbers. We get the city, the street. If I go all the way up, we can see that this is a Whois response. So this all information is public to us. And this would be pretty much it. This is all the information we get for Facebook using Whois tool. And by the way, in real penetration tests that you will perform, all of the interesting information is something that you want to write down in a report. For now, we only saw how we can get basic information such as IP addresses, country origin, physical address and similar, but later during information gathering and scanning, we might find something that shouldn't be out there on the internet, and that would be called information disclosure. It is something that client doesn't want to be seen, but it is still publicly available. So anything that you might think is interesting, you would write down. Okay, great. Now we know how we can identify a target by getting its IP address and also getting its physical address and some other interesting information as well. And even though this isn't really hard information to get, it is a good beginning. Let us see in the next video what else can we find out.